Wet leaves can mimic ice when it comes to the slickness of the roadway. So not only walking, especially to motorcycles, bicycles, things of that nature, but also vehicles. Wet leaves on the roadway, on pavement, can be extremely slick. So we ask you to be cognizant of that.
Leaf piles begin to form. The chief reminds there is a burn ban in Clinton, but notes there are plenty of options for those leaves as they fall.
With the leaves falling, we want to remind people that the Clinton's yard waste facility is open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. After the time change, those hours change to 3 to 5 p.m. To still accommodate the light. They're open on Saturdays from 8 to noon and 1 to 5. Where leaves, limbs, things of that nature, yard waste can be delivered. The pickup, the city's leaf pickup, will begin in November, and it's the third week of each month. They'll do a little extra during leaf falling time, I guess. We ask you to rake those leaves to the side of the edge of the street, not into the street per se, but to the edge of the street, the curbs, things of that nature.
Chief Flowers also reminds, be mindful of that large machinery still out on the roads getting in and out of the fields for the harvest. A local healthcare system is opening up a new office in Piatt County. On the WHOW Morning Show Thursday, Amber Oberheim with OSF in Monticello told Regional Radio she will be the practitioner at a new satellite office in her home community.
I've been a family nurse practitioner for a little over 20 years now. And I am so excited about the opportunity to bring OSF into the community that I live in and have taken care of for the last 17 years. I think it's going to be a really great opportunity to bring some services into the area that we need here. But I feel really blessed to have the opportunity. I realize that providing care and being able to be that person to the patients that trust me with their health care is really just what I'm passionate about in life. And it is something that I feel that I need to continue to do. And so I'm really, really excited about this opportunity.
Oberheim notes they'll be able to accept all insurances at the OSF satellite office. They are taking appointments now. To make an appointment, call 217-560-6300. Coming up, we'll take a look at local sports this morning. Clinton football faces a must-win situation tonight at El Paso Gridley. That story in sports.
Are you wanting to learn more about your health and wellness options in Central Illinois? Visit stealthwellness.com or click on my banner ad at DeWittDailyNews.com. Let me, Dr. Bill Byers, show you some simple, under-the-radar ways to improve and take control of your health.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. It's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. The Clinton Maroons suffered their fourth straight loss, falling to DMAC last week, 38-20. Tonight, the Maroons will travel to El Paso Gridley in a situation needing a win to qualify for the postseason. Coach Ron Bass let his team decide how they wanted to be coached this week in practice.
Well, I liked how it started, with the score on offense, and we got to stop on defense. We had made that a point of emphasis to get off, defensively. We'd given up a score on our first drive the last 3 games. So clean that up. Unfortunately, we're just not good enough up front. They line up foot to foot and are running it right at us. It was tough. It's tough to watch. You try to do as many things as you can defensively, schematically, doing some different things with the D-line and things like that. But, if you're getting pushed back or you're not getting off blocks, it's difficult. Yeah, no, they all agreed that they wanted us to coach them as if we were coaching to win. So that's, they said that. So they saying the right things, but we'll see with how our effort is during the game. But no, they seem to respond well.
The Maroons are still suffering from injuries to Anthony Westbrooks and Dawson Thayer, and this week center John Smock will be stepping away from the defensive line with a rib injury, while sophomore Micah Wheeler will step into his spot on the defensive line.
Well, telling our kids, you have a chance, you have an opportunity to win a game and continue your season, So we just look at it from opportunity standpoint. El Paso is a good football team, and that's shown the last several weeks. They're definitely going to create some challenges for us still. But, that's at the end of the day, it's how badly do our kids want to make that jump into getting another week.
Well, I think, they have some good edge rushers. I don't know if one of them will be playing or not. He didn't play last week with a shoulder injury, but their edge rushers are pretty good, which will cause us some issues, on the edges. So defensively, they're young. Their quarterback, who looks solid, is only a sophomore, so he runs hard. He's a tall, lanky kid, so definitely going to have our work cut out for us, especially again up front.
The Maroons will look to upset the 5-3 Titans with their season on the line tonight at 7 p.m. Tune in to WHOW and all our digital platforms for the action tonight. Conference Heart of Central Illinois conference action tonight. DMAC hosts Ridgeview Lexington. Eureka travels to Shelbyville. Tri-Valley takes on Tremont. Leroy hosts Fisher. Warrensburg Latham will play host to Meridian. Fieldcrest travels to Hayworth, and GCMS plays host to Central A&M. Monticello puts a 7-game winning streak on the line tonight when they travel to rival Tolono Unity for Illini Prairie Conference high school football action in Week 9. Coach Coley Welter admits his team is playing well, but they still have little details to iron out to be the consistent defensive force he believes they can be. In a 28-13 win over Prairie Central, it was big plays that hurt the Sages.
I think after watching the film, I actually think we played better than my initial thought coming off the field, and I think that's because of the score and the fact that I felt like we were in control of the game, and yet we never really put them away. We talked about that with the kids on Monday about, hey, you can say you played great except for 2 plays, but those 2 plays count, and, if we score 13 points, or 12 points, we lose the game. So I think the biggest thing we took away from as a staff was just we're getting, 9 or 10 players to do really well on each play, and it always seems like there's just one little mistake here that's hurting us, keeping us from being real consistent. So I feel like we're close. But yeah, we just need a little bit more consistency to your point of, throughout the game. We don't need the ups and downs. Yeah, I think it's hard. I definitely would agree with the Prairie Central game, PBL, Pontiac, Rantoul, didn't give up a whole lot there. But yeah, a couple big plays to BCC, and clearly, if you look back to St. Joe, lots of big plays there before we settled down. So yeah, I think the point is that our defense has played pretty well with the exception of Week 1, but big plays is a big part of the game, and you have to limit those to be successful against a good team.
Out of last week's win, Coach Welter was calling for his team to put the distractions of the excitement from the attention they are getting as a team and focus on playing football. He feels they did much better about that this week.
Yeah, I really do. I feel like it has been. I think going all the way back to St. Joe when we got humbled, and as I've said multiple times, we licked our wounds a little bit, and progressively have gotten better. I think there's a business-like attitude most times. Doesn't mean practice is always good. We do have our lulls like anybody, but for the most part, I feel like our kids are focused. They have the goal in mind each and every day.
The Sages face a Unity team that has a couple of tough losses to its ledger this season. Coach Welter says they will be a handful in the running game and a very tough defensive force.
Yeah, they're very good. They played St. Joe very close, had Belleville all but beaten until the very end of the game, and then kind of stuck their toe against Central Catholic, and that was probably their one negative game for the year. But we know they're a team that always gets better. We know they have a lot more balance offensively than in previous years because they throw the ball a lot more now, and we know they're always going to be solid defensively. They're running a new scheme on defense, so that'll take a little to get used to as well. They've always been a good power running team. They've always got a big offensive line. There's no exception this year. And when they want to, when they need yards, they always fall back on that big offensive line and those good running backs and run power football. But they are balanced. They are diversified now. They do present a problem. They do keep you honest with the pass, and they'll be happy to pass it 20-25 times a game as well. So it really presents some challenges for our defense.
Unity comes into action 5-3 overall. Game time is 7 o'clock. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC. WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. In the Illini Prairie Conference tonight, Prairie Central plays host to BCC. PBL travels to St. Joe Ogden, and IVC will play host to Rantoul. In the Big 12 this week, Bloomington hosts Champaign Centennial. Danville is at Peoria Notre Dame. Normal West travels to Urbana. Normal Community plays host to Peoria. And Peoria Manual is at Champaign Central. Lincoln Prairie Conference tonight. Ala travels to Sullivan-Okaw Valley. Cerro Gordo-Bement travels to Arcola. Nokomis hosts Sangamon Valley. Villa Grove will play host to Oakland Tri-County, and Toledo-Cumberland is at Argenta-Oriena. In the Mid-Illini tonight, Limestone hosts Canton, Metamora is at Dunlap, Washington hosts Morton, and Pekin is at East Peoria. In the Sangamo tonight, Maroa Forsyth hosts New Berlin, Pittsfield is at Petersburg-Porta, Olympia travels to Auburn, and Pleasant Plains hosts Williamsville. Non-conference high school football action this week. Decatur St. Teresa is at Highland. Lincoln plays host to Jacksonville. Mahomet Seymour travels to Peoria Richwoods. Mount Zion is at Breeze Mater Dei. Springfield Lanphier plays host to Normal U High. Decatur MacArthur hosts Quincy Notre Dame. Chatham Glenwood hosts Springfield. Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin is at Rochester. Springfield Southeast is at Decatur Eisenhower. And Taylorville plays host to St. Louis TDW Academy out of Missouri. The annual WHOW WEZC High School Football Playoff Preview Show can be heard this Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Hear from high school football coaches from around Central Illinois whose teams will be playing postseason football. Then hear as the pairings are released where your school lands in the playoff landscape. The show will originate from the WHOW studios and can be heard on 92.3 FM and 106.5 FM WHOW, as well as 95.9 FM WEZC, streaming online at DeWittDailyNews.com, on Facebook and YouTube. Again, that's the annual high school football playoff preview show Saturday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on WHOW, WEZC, and all its digital platforms. Number 1 Oregon aims to continue dominance in a clash with number 20 Illinois. Oregon is ranked at number 1 in the nation for the first time in 12 years. The Ducks' first game at the top will be Saturday afternoon in a Big Ten matchup against 20th ranked Illinois. 7-0 Oregon is 6-1 all-time as a number 1 and is one of only 10 undefeated FBS teams this season. The Ducks are 7-0 for the 6th time in program history and the first time since 2013. They have wins over 2 top 25 teams this season in Ohio State and Boise State. Oregon is also 35-1 over its last 36 home games and is 44-3 at home since 2017. Lanning, according to Dan Lanning, that is, head coach of the Ducks, according to at least one media outlet that covers Oregon, closed practice to the media for the week leading up to Saturday's game. The Ducks are coming off a 35-0 shutout over Purdue on the road last week. Oregon posted a shutout for the first time since 2012, forcing 2 turnovers and held Purdue to 93 yards passing. Ducks quarterback Dylan Gabriel completed 21 of 25 passes for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns. His completion percentage at 77% leads the country. The 6-1 Illini have been one of the surprise teams in college football this season. They beat then 19th ranked Kansas on September 7th, then 22nd ranked Nebraska on the road September 20th, and topped then 24th ranked Michigan last week. Only a 21-7 loss to the current 3rd team in the country, Penn State, on September 28th is the lone blemish on the Illinois schedule. Quarterback Luke Altmaier ran for a touchdown and passed for another last week against Michigan, and the Illinois defense had 3 key takeaways. Illinois will visit Eugene for the second time in program history, the first since 1995. It will be the program's first trip west of the Rocky Mountains since the 2019 Red Box Bowl in Santa Clara, California. Saturday will also be Illinois' first regular season game on the West Coast since a non-conference trip to Washington in 2014. Illinois will face the nation's top-ranked team for the 16th time in program history with a 3-12 record in those games. Game time is 2:30 on Saturday. Eastern Illinois comes off its bye week, looking to snap a 5-game losing streak as the Panthers enter the back half of the season, 1-6 overall and 0-3 in the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. EIU lost on the road at Tennessee State 41-17 in their last game prior to the bye. Quentin Rogers caught his first collegiate pass on October 5th against Southeast Missouri, hauling in a 39-yard touchdown. At Tennessee State, the redshirt freshman made his first collegiate start, finishing the game with 5 catches for 103 yards and was the Big South Ohio Valley Conference Freshman of the Week. Cooper Willman continues to be a clutch receiver for the Panthers as the senior hauled in 8 grabs for 141 yards. He leads EIU this season with 30 receptions for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns. Pierce Holly passed for 338 yards and a touchdown at Tennessee State, marking the 3rd straight game he's thrown for 300 yards or more in a game. UT Martin will also enter the game, coming off a bye week as the Skyhawks have won 3 straight and moved into the national rankings with a 4-3 record overall. They are 2-1 in the Big South Ohio Valley Conference. Game time is 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Hear all the action starting with a 1:30 pregame on the Big 1520 AM, 92.3 FM, and 106.5 FM WHOW, as well as its digital platforms. Jordan Love is tied for the NFL lead with 8 interceptions, and that is despite missing 2 games with a knee injury. But he's also second with 15 touchdown passes, making the Packers one of the most potent passing offenses in the league. Those turnovers are troubling as the 5-2 Packers try to extend their win streak to 4 at 2-5 Jacksonville Sunday. Jacksonville is feeling better about itself following a 32-16 victory over New England in London. The Jaguars played their best game of the season and hope to have some carryover back across the pond. But now comes a daunting stretch against NFC opponents with a combined 19-6 record, and it starts against the Packers. Green Bay is averaging 26.6 points per game despite Love's interceptions and his 2-game absence. Brandon McManus follows up his triumphant debut performance with Green Bay by returning to the place where he played last season. McManus was with the Jaguars a year ago and signed with the Washington Commanders in the offseason, but Washington cut the veteran kicker last summer after 2 women sued him and the Jaguars in a civil court alleging he sexually assaulted them when they were working as flight attendants on the Jags trip to London. The NFL later said it did not find sufficient evidence that McManus violated the personal conduct policy, and the lawsuit was resolved. He signed with Green Bay last week and kicked a 45-yard field goal on the final play of the Packers' 24-22 victory over the Houston Texans on Sunday. The Packers committed 3 turnovers without forcing any Houston turnovers last weekend, but they still have an NFL-leading 17 takeaways. Safety Xavier McKinney intercepted a pass in each of Green Bay's first 5 games. He has an NFL-high 6 takeaways, including 5 picks and a fumble recovery. Game time is noon Sunday. The matchup between the Bears and Commanders will feature a quarterback selected with the first pick in the draft against the one taken second. It's unclear, though, if the showdown the NFL hoped for when the game was moved into the national TV spotlight will be what they hoped. A rib injury to Jaden Daniels has thrown into uncertainty what was supposed to be a meeting between rookie QBs taken atop the draft, leading teams that have exceeded preseason expectations. Top pick Caleb Williams leads the Bears into his homecoming at Washington, rolling along with 3 consecutive wins, while the Commanders are unsure if Daniels or journeyman Marcus Mariota will start on Sunday. Williams is playing his first professional game in the area where he grew up, living in the D.C. area as well as locations in suburban Maryland. The 4-2 Bears are coming off their bye and have not lost since September 22nd. Williams has thrown for 7 touchdowns to just 1 interception in the last 3 games, growth that's not surprising to Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, who coached Williams in his job as a senior analyst at USC last season. Daniels, meanwhile, has thrown for 1,410 yards with 6 touchdowns and run for 4 more to lead the 5-2 Commanders atop the NFC East. Bears receiver DJ Moore had a monster game in Week 5 at Washington last year where he caught 8 passes and set career highs for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns, helping Chicago stop a 14-game losing streak in a 40-20 win. Chicago comes in with 3 straight wins and its best record through 6 games since starting 5-1 in 2020. The Bears are on their best run since weeks 14 through 16 that year. Game time is 3:25 on Sunday. Joey Logano won at Las Vegas to become the first qualifier for next month's championship finale in Phoenix. Heading to Homestead, Miami, Logano's victory is putting the other 7 drivers in the final 8 in a tough spot. Christopher Bell led 155 laps after starting on the pole, but did not have enough to hold off Logano. Daniel Suarez was 3rd, William Byron 4th, and Alex Bowman 5th. Bell leads the standings over Kyle Larson by 7 points and Byron by 15. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, defending champ Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott are all below the cut line as the round of 8 continues in Miami.
Farmers, let's talk Pioneer brand 4-seed Enlist corn.
Yes, Coach!
Wow, love the energy. Okay, it clobbers corn rootworms and weeds for higher yields.
Yes, Coach!
And 4-seed Enlist delivers next-generation corn rootworm protection.
Yes, Coach!
Plus powerful exclusive genetics and flexibility to manage tough weeds.
Yes, Coach!
Now get out there and
grow!
I guess being a Pioneer agronomist is like being a coach.
Start your best year yet at Pioneer.